Happy New Year, everyone, and welcome to Movie Goodness as we examine life through cinema here on the KB Radio Network. I am your host, Kevin Reed, and I hope that everybody had a blessed and happy Christmas, that Santa brought you everything that you asked for and you didn't end up on the naughty list. Now we are gearing up for a brand new year. We're about to cross over, if the Lord says the same, into 2026. And we have a lot to look forward to in 2026 as far as film is concerned. I know a lot of people are probably stressing out over bills and relationships and life, period. But if you want to escape for a couple of hours, in some cases 3, depending on which film you go look at, if you want to escape, you can go to the theater and check out a few films, get your mind off of the daily hustle and bustle of life, and go on about your day. Now, when you leave the theater, it's probably your problems are standing out there waiting on you. Like, oh, you're back. Yeah. But at least you have those couple of hours of release that you can dive into another world. That's the part of film that I love. I love going to movies. I love sitting down watching movies at home just to escape, man, to get out of reality. Seeing these fantastical worlds, these just out there characters that you probably wouldn't run into every day, but it's something about film that brings everybody together, that keeps your mind at ease, and that's the beauty of it, in my humble opinion. And let me start off by saying that this is going to be a challenge to get through this show. I'm not feeling 100% today. I hate this. It's always the most inconvenient times when I start feeling ill. I felt good all year until Christmas week. And this week I'm just not feeling it. I'm stuffed up. My head is congested. It's just all type of stuff going on. I'm not feeling 100%. But that doesn't mean that I'm going to stop doing what I love, and that is talking to all of you. Thank you all for joining me. Thank you for going on this ride another year. I've been doing this for, how long has it been? 5 years? For 5 years, I've jumped on this podcast train, and it started off as a hobby. It started off as something just to set my mind at ease. As my kids went off to college and I didn't have anything to do, so I wanted something to do, and I love talking movies. So, hey, I'll talk movies and whatnot. And it turned into a job, but not a job in the sense of being taxing or, overwhelming. But it is something that I love to do, and that's talk to all of you. And all of you who have supported this show from the beginning or just joining, thank you. Thank you. You keep me going, because I could have easily said, man, forget this uh, a long time ago. But I am constantly being encouraged, and I it's overwhelming. I'll just say it's overwhelming how much love I get for all of you who listen to this show. I deeply, deeply appreciate it. But today is hard. Today is tough, and I'm gonna try to get through it. But I am excited because I'm talking about what's to come. I'm talking about the excitement. This is before the film actually comes out and rips your heart out and disappoints you to the nth degree. But before we get to all of that, before we get to all of the hype and the promotion and all this here, it's the thought of, man, this look like it's going to be good. Oh, that sounds like it's going to be interesting. I am hyped up for these little films here. That's the part that excites me. Before the internet came along, you didn't have any information being spewed out about these films. You didn't really know who was starring in it or who was co-starring in it, and worried about spoilers and worried about the script being leaked out, and all that other stuff. It didn't hype you up or take some of the excitement away from it that the internet tends to do. And so I love this little period of time where we don't know anything about the films, about the movies, about the TV shows. We're just curious. We're like a child. We revert back to children when we're just curious about these properties. And this is the joyous time. Because once the promotions start coming out and you start seeing trailers and you start hearing reports and stuff like that, it can really damper your excitement for a film. I think back to Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice. The thought of it was exciting. The teaser trailer was exciting. And then as the movie started to approach and all of the trailers start coming out and they show basically 70% of the movie in the trailers, I didn't care. When you went to go see the movie, you pretty much saw the movie. You know what happens. You know everything that was going to happen in the film because it was spoiled, not through somebody on the internet. It was spoiled by the studio. It was mind-boggling how they fumbled that. And not just that film, but multiple films that constantly spoil it for you and just takes the excitement away. So before that happens, let's go over my top 20 most anticipated movies of 2026. 2025 was an interesting year. I thought 2025 had some sneakily good movies in it. And some really surprising hits came out of 2025. And you also got a lot of disappointments in 2025. Really no different from any other year. But movies that I thought that would have been on my top 5 or 10, by the end of the year, really didn't get there once the year was over because I did not find that much enjoyment in a lot of the films as much as I thought. It's just like these are my 20 most anticipated of 2026. I'm more than certain by the end of 2026, maybe, if I'm lucky, maybe 10 of them will be good or live up to the expectation. That's how it goes. You're lucky to get half. 2025, I think out of 20 movies that I was anticipating, 5. That's not fair. About 7 might have creeped up there, but they weren't. It wasn't because they were just that good. I think it was because it didn't have that many good films to come out last year. Not that I initially thought going into 2025, but fingers crossed going into 2026. We have a lot of films to go through, so we're not going to prolong the time. And we have some honorable mentions before we get to the 20. The honorable mentions are movies that I still want to see, and there's more than this, but I just narrowed it down to these 3 honorable mentions, but there are a lot more that look interesting going into the year, but these 3 basically almost cracked the top 20, just didn't quite get there. First honorable mention goes to Werewolf. Werewolf is a Robert Eggers film that's coming out at the very end. I think it's the last film slated to come out in 2026. Like a year from today at the time of this release is when it comes out. But I am anticipating it because Robert Eggers is a phenomenal filmmaker. Last time we got a film from him, it was the same formula at the end of December, and that was Nosferatu, which was really, really good. Enjoyed that. Was that last year it came out? Really good movie. This time he's trading vampires in for werewolves. So we're going to see his vision of a werewolf story pretty much set in the same time period, the Victorian time period. I'm not going to bet against Robert Eggers in this style, going back to The Witch and oh my God, what's that other the Viking movie that he did? I can't even remember, but it's really good. And so he's a very interesting filmmaker that I am all in on that. Honorable mention number 2 is the second film in this franchise, and that is Ready or Not to. This is a shocker because I thought Ready or Not was just gonna be a little throwaway, which it is, a little throwaway horror slash comedy movie, but it's caught me off guard when it came out because I didn't know it was gonna be that doggone good. That movie was so good. I mean, hats out, off, I should say, uh, to the Radio Silence team that directed that film, and they did Abigail, which a lot of people didn't care for, but I liked Abigail for what it was. It was a contained little story, and I had fun with it. Ready or Not is such a good movie, and Samantha Reeving in that role in the first film as the final girl, as your new scream queen, if you will, in this era. She killed it, man. No pun intended. And she killed it in that role. Excited to see what happens in Ready or Not 2. Are they going to up the ante? Is it going to be just as funny as it is terrifying? We shall see. Our third and last honorable mention is another kind of a horror film coming from a horror icon in Sam Raimi, and that is Sin Help. Sin Help. It stars Dylan O'Brien and Rachel McAdams as a boss who terrorizes Rachel McAdams, and they end up getting stranded on this island. And Rachel McAdams' character exacts revenge and pretty much tortures him. At least this the indication from the trailers. It makes his life a living hell on his island because I think his leg was broke or something like that. And so she exacts her revenge on this island. It looks good. And it's Sam Raimi in his element. And so I am super excited for that. Can't wait to see how that turns out. And we don't have long to wait. I think it comes out in January. So we don't have long to wait for that one. It looks good. It looks really good. And it's Sam Raimi, man. You can say what you want about his big budget films, like a Doctor Strange and things of that nature. But when it's a small, contained, semi-horror film, he is in his element. So I'm excited to see this. Excited to see Rachel McAdams as the, I guess you could say, quasi-villain here. So sign me up. And so that leads us into our top 20 list. Coming in at number 20, most anticipated film of 2026, is a film coming out in October the 2nd, and it is none other than Digger, which stars Tom Cruise. The film is directed by Alejandro Inarritu, who directed The Revenant. He directed Birdman. Very well respected and accomplished filmmaker. I have no idea what this movie is about, but it's something about that little teaser that they released a couple of weeks ago that just got me. I mean, it's Tom Cruise. It's Tom Cruise in an Alejandro Inarritu movie. So I want to see what this is all about. Is it a man who digs to China or something? I don't know. I don't care. I just want to see it. And it got me interested deeply. No pun intended. And so we'll see Digger, which is slated for release on October the 2nd. And let me express slated, because we don't know. We have no idea if these release dates are going to stick, because as we go through our list, we have two films in particular that's slated to come out on the same day, and I don't see how that's possible, because these are two huge blockbuster caliber films coming out on the exact same date. I know they did it with Oppenheimer and Barbie, but that was a different element because those were counter programming. One was directed towards the female audience and the other one was directed towards the male. Whereas the two films I'm just talking about in 2026, they're pretty much aimed at the exact same audience. So I don't see that happening. I see that date moving, but we shall see. We shall see. Coming in at number 19. At number 19 is the what is this, like the sixth film in this franchise? And I kind of gave up after the fourth. I let it go. But the trailer for this movie got me right back into that world that I loved from the first few films, and took the world by storm. It was just a global phenomenon, and it is none other than the Hunger Games: Sunrise on the Reaping. Yes, this is the sixth franchise, or the sixth installment to the franchise. Francis Lawrence returns to direct this film. He directed, I think, two of the original films out of that trilogy. And so I'm, the tone will pretty much align with the films that I enjoyed out of this franchise, but I didn't see Songbirds and what was it, Snakes, the Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes that came out a couple of years ago. It just did not. It just didn't do nothing for me. It didn't hook me to whereas I wanted to see it. Now it may be great, I don't know, but it just did nothing to make me want to watch it. Yeah, because I was done with the franchise. I was done. But that trailer for this one, Sunrise on the Reaping, it just felt like Hunger Games. It felt like we're back in the fold again, even though Jennifer Lawrence and Josh Hutcherson and what was the other actor's name? It don't matter. They're not involved in this. Allegedly, we'll see. But this is a new story to be told here, and hey, I'm all for it. The Hunger Games: Sunrise on the Reaping, which will be released on November the 20th, is number 19 on the highly anticipated list of 2026. Coming in at number 18. Looks like the dumbest movie. Well, one of, because there's one higher up on this list that's dumb, and we know it's dumb. It doesn't even, is no point throwing something at your phone or your computer, however you're listening to this. I know it's dumb, but I still want to see it. This looks dumb, but it looks fun dumb, and it's even in the title. Good luck, have fun, don't die. This is this is a science fiction comedy action adventure film directed by Gore Verbinski, who gave us the Pirates of the Caribbean films, at least the first three. Yeah, the good ones. Yeah, the good ones in that franchise. Also gave us The Ring, the first one, and a few others. It was another one he did a few years ago that I thought was super underrated. I don't know why it didn't kind of take off. People hated it, but I loved it. I thought it was really good, and that was The Cure for Wellness. I thought it was really, really good. It was deeply disturbing. Deeply disturbing, and that's what it was supposed to be. He also directed Ringo, and sadly he also directed the live action Lone Ranger film, which was god awful. But this film looks exactly what the title says, fun. It stars Sam Rockwell, Haley Lou Richardson, I should say, Michael Pena. And it tells the story of a man from the future who travels to the past to recruit patrons at a Los Angeles diner he arrives in to help combat a rogue AI. I'm curious with this, man. This looks fun. It looks silly, and Gore Verbinski, even in his bad movies, even in The Lone Ranger, it was good to look at. It was nice to look at that movie. It just, the story sucked, but this looks really fun. The trailer looks just bonkers and wacky and crazy, but that's the point of this film. Good luck, have fun, don't die. Will be released in theaters on just in time for Valentine's Day so you can snuggle up with your loved one on February the 13th. Our 17th film on the most anticipated movies of 2026 is pure curiosity. Pure curiosity, because I have no earthly idea how this movie is going to turn out and what this movie is truly all about and how they're going to pull this off without the main protagonist, and that is Clayface, coming to us from DC Studios and Warner Brothers. This film was written by Mike Flanagan, who, if you're a horror fan, you know his works, Dr. Sleep, Oculus, the haunted, what was it? The haunting, I can't remember. It was on Netflix. But the two little anthology shows there. He's a really good horror director, but he's not directing. He just wrote this. This is based on the DC's character, the villain in the Batman lore, and is basically a actor whose face is disfigured and he turns to a scientist who transfers his body into clay. And so this is, like I said, a Batman villain, but there's no Batman in this movie. I guess this is supposed to kind of go the same route as a Joker, where you got a Joker movie with no Batman, which is, hard to pull off. And they pulled it off the first time, but not the second time. They couldn't do it a second time. But I don't know, man. I don't know how this is going to go. I'm not 100% confident that this movie will work. And so you may question, why is it number 17 on the list? Well, I'm curious. I mean, this is pure curiosity. Pure curiosity. I want to see how this turns out, because this has been described as just a body horror film inside of a comic book movie. And in order to pull that off, in order to do these superhero comic book movies for years and years to come, you can't follow the same exact formula. You're going to have to switch it up. You're going to have to put a comic book character inside of a thriller, or a comic book character inside of a romantic comedy, a comic book character inside of I don't know, any genre. Pick a genre. And horror is one of them that I'm curious to see. And so Clayface is number 17 on the list. It is slated for release on September 11th. Coming in at number 16. Remember when I started off and I said there's a stupid movie on here, but I don't care, because that's what this movie is. That's what the previous 5 movies were. So if you coming in here thinking you're going to get deep, philosophical, psychological, just, I don't know, mental health cleansing from this movie, you bought the wrong ticket. We are getting the return of Scary Movie. Yes, Scary Movie 6 is number 17 on our list. And what makes this so exciting, if you followed this franchise, the first 2 films are classics in the franchise. Everybody loved those movies. 3 through 5, not so much. And the reason for that is because the Wayans left the franchise. Marlon Wayans, Sean Wayans, Ken Ivy Wayans, who all spearheaded this franchise. They've returned. All of them have returned to their rightful place here in the Scary Movie franchise. And man, in the time that we've received the last Scary Movie film, there's been so many horror movies you can spoof. So many. I'm just my mouth waters thinking about all of these horror movies that they're going to spoof in this movie. Not only the Wayans are returning, you're also getting Anna Faris returning. You're getting Regina Hall returning. Yes, everybody is coming back for Scary Movie 6. I am so excited for this. I am super excited. Now, with that being said, I'm excited, but I'm scared too. No pun intended, because we all know when you messing around with legacy sequels and things of that nature, it's a very slippery slope. And I'm I don't know, because it's been so long since their last foray into this franchise. Will the audience still be there? Do you still have that same hunger for this offbeat parody comedy that we used to get in the late 90s, early 2000s? You know, it's been over 20 something years. So, is that itch still there for you to scratch? We're going to see, and we're going to find out on June the 12th, number 17 on the highly anticipated list of 2026, Scary Movie 6. Coming in at number 15 on the most anticipated of 2026, Mortal Kombat 2. This movie was originally stated to come out in 2025, I think in October, but they pushed it back. They pushed it back for reasons. I don't know. I didn't really look into the reasoning behind it, but I remember being disappointed because I really wanted to see it. Unlike other people I talked to who hated the Mortal Kombat film, I loved it. I loved it for what it was. It was really good because it was violent and bloody, and it told a story that the the original films didn't do. I mean, the video game is the video game, but those 90s Mortal Kombat movies, the less said about them, the better. As long as it was a improvement on that, or an improvement on that, I was fine. So I got my boxes checked. And we're about to dive into it again with Mortal Kombat 2. We got the original cast returning with the addition of Carl Urban. He has joined the cast as Johnny Cage. This is that's my only hiccup about it. I love Carl Urban, but Carl Urban don't know martial arts. He's not a martial artist. So it's going to be a lot of stunt work there, but we can pull it off. It can be done with special effects and whatnot, but I would have liked to see an actual martial artist in the role. But hey, look, I'm not going to cry about it until I see the movie. And right now, I'm all good with it. Mortal Kombat 2 will fight in the theater on May the 8th. Number 14. It's the sequel to a film that took me by surprise, and I believe many others. When the original came out, or the first film came out a couple of years ago, the Super Mario Brothers movie, and being a child of the 80s, Super Mario Brothers was my jam. That was my jam back in the day, and like millions of others. So we got a live action version in the 90s, which was an abomination, and this time around we got an animated version, and I went to go see it. Me and the fam, we went to go see it and was pleasantly surprised. Took the world by storm. Was one of the biggest hits of 2023. Everybody was foaming at the mouth for a new one, and we're getting one next year with the Super Mario Galaxy movie. This movie, once again, you have Chris Pratt, Anya Taylor-Joy, Charlie Day, Jack Black, Keegan-Michael Key, and the list goes on and on with voice actors providing their voices for this film. In the film, Mario and Luigi join Princess Peach and Toad on an adventure into outer space and across the galaxy to face off against Bowser's son, Bowser Jr. This film is slated for release on April the 3rd, 2026. I'm telling y'all, I'm not feeling my head. I'm seeing all kind of stuff in my mind, but I'm powering through. I'm powering through. The Super Mario Galaxy movie is number 14 on the highly anticipated list. Coming in at number 13 is Project Hail Mary. And this is based on a novel of the same name from Andy Weir, who also wrote The Martian, which was adapted into a film a few years back with Ridley Scott directing, Matt Damon starring in it. Buku awards were handed out for that movie, but and I thought it was pretty good. Project Hail Mary, this go around in the director's chair. You get Philip Lloyd and Christopher Miller. Yes, Lloyd and Miller, who has given us such classics as Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs, the 21 Jump Street films, the Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse films. They did make a Han Solo movie that they were fired off of, and and Ron Howard came and directed it. That movie was just a disaster anyway, and they shouldn't have made it. But here they are with Project Hail Mary. This film stars Ryan Gosling, and he plays a man who awakens on an interstellar spacecraft with no memory of how he came to be there before he realized he's on a mission to save Earth. I'm curious with this too. And the reason I'm super curious with it is Ryan Gosling, and it's not a bad thing. I'm curious in the sense of, can he carry a movie by himself? I've never seen him carry a movie by himself, and a lot of actors have. And you don't see too many movies where an actor is by themselves. Yeah, you can pinpoint Tom Hanks in Castaway or Matt Damon in The Martian. You know, movies like that where you get one character, one actor on the screen, you know, for the majority of the screen time. How would this work? You know, can he do it? Now, Ryan Gosling is an exceptional actor. I mean, exception. I think Ryan Gosling gets slept on. You look at his filmography, the dude can do it all, literally. Sing and dance. Look at La La Land. Dramatic. Look at Half Nelson. Comedies. You know, look at The Nice Guys. Look at The Fall Guy for action and comedy. You know, so the dude can do it all. And so I have confidence that he can do it. I just want to see how they're going to pull this film off. I've never read the book, but I heard that it is a highly celebrated book, you know, so hopefully they can pull it off just as well as the book did. Project Hail Mary comes out on probably the best day of 2026. There's no other date on the calendar of 2026 more special than March the 20th. And in case you're wondering why, that's my birthday. So Project Hail Mary is number 13 on the highly anticipated list. Coming in at number 12 is a horror film that probably going to make a lot of people turn their stomachs like, oh my God, not again. Not another one. But this is a reboot. They're starting over. This is not a continuation of the other films that was a part of a franchise. This is its own thing, and I'm excited for it for one reason and one reason only. Coming in at number 12, Resident Evil. Yes, we're getting another one, people. We're getting another one. And the reason I'm super excited for this is for one reason, and that is Zach Cregger. And if you don't know who Zach Cregger is, he's a writer, he's a director. He's given us just this year Weapons, Barbarian. A couple of years ago, the dude knows horror. The dude knows how to direct. And if anybody was going to take over the Resident Evil franchise, they couldn't have picked anybody better than Zach Cregger. Those films, those films that we were getting. I think there were 8 of them. My God, man, those were so bad with Mila Jovovich. Those movies were so horrible. But that's what you got. I think the first 2 were all right. And then it was just the law of diminishing returns after that. It was just a dumpster fire. But the movies made money for some strange reason. People gave it a chance week in and week out, or movie in and movie out. And it was a successful franchise. The TV show, the one that came on Netflix, what, last year, the year before last, whenever it was, horrible show. They tried another one, a kind of a reboot, return, or Welcome to Raccoon City. Horrible movie. Nobody can nail it, but I'm confident that Zach Cregger can. I don't know why. Because this could be it. I know he's 2 for 2 behind the camera. Could this be the one that knocks him off? I don't know, but I'm anticipating. I'm excited to see whether he crashes or burns. I'm thinking he's going to succeed in this, because he has stated that this movie will follow the games, unlike the other films in this franchise that just went a completely different route. We followed that Alice character that was a super. It was just dumb. And so if he's going to follow the games faithfully, I think we're in for a treat. Resident Evil is slated for release on September the 18th. Coming in at number 11 is a film that probably should be higher on my list, but you know, this isn't a end all be all list. If you're on the list, you're on the list. I'm highly anticipated. I want to see it. But this is number 11 as far as my anticipation is concerned. And look, man, I just recently watched part 2 the other day and got super excited. And that's why I was like, man, when's the next one coming out? I looked it up and I was like, wait, next year? Give it to me. Dune Part 3. Yes. Man, look, Denis Villeneuve, he is in his bag here, bro. When you talk about eating, he is tearing this franchise apart. And I'm talking in a good way, man. Dune is everything that I hoped it would be. You know, I never read the 50 novels in that was put out, but I remember watching the 1984 film, and I was like, oh my God. You know, back then it was interesting, but when you get older and you watch it, you're like, oh, this isn't that good, especially in comparisons to Doom 1 and Doom 2. This is like Denis Villeneuve. You could, when he takes a project on, it's because he loves it. He wants to put his all into it, and he does. Everything is cinematic, and as big and as epic as this story is, it feels contained. You know what I'm saying? It feels small as far as the human moments that you have throughout these films. And it's odd because this is a space epic, man. This is Star Wars. Because if you don't know the history, George Lucas was a big fan of the novels, and that's what he based Star Wars on, these novels, the Dune saga. So, yeah, this was here first. But everybody's returning. Timothy Chalamet, Zendaya, Florence Pugh, Jason Momoa, Josh Brolin. Everybody is coming back, along with Denis Villeneuve. And this is the film, or one of the films, that is slated to come out on December the 18th, along with another film, which I just don't see these two movies coming out on the exact same day. It's virtually impossible. But we're getting to that. We're getting to that very, very soon, in case you don't know. But I'll let you know in a few. But Dune Part 3, it is based on the novel Dune Messiah. And if you remember how the second film ended, you pretty much know why that's the title. But Dune 3 is slated currently for December the 18th. We'll see if it sticks. And it is number 11 on the list. We have entered the top 10 of our most anticipated films of 2026, and currently sitting at number 10 on my list is a superhero film that has, I'm not going to say has me wowed or super excited. It probably even it probably shouldn't even be this high on my list. But once again, this is all about curiosity. My curiosity is at a 12 out of 10 right now for this movie. Because once again, this could seriously crash and burn. But it looks good, but it doesn't look like, ooh, wow. But we'll see. And it is none other than Supergirl. Yes, this is the second film in the DC universe under the leadership of James Gunn, even though he doesn't direct this film. Thank God. It is not because I don't like James Gunn. Let's get some new vision here. Let's get some new voices here. Craig Gillespie is directing this film, and we have Millie Alcock as Kara Zor-El, aka Supergirl. Here we saw her in that brief cameo in Superman this past year, and curious, interesting casting. Loved her on House of the Dragon, but I didn't see Supergirl in that. Now, judging by the trailer, the little trailer that we did get, we didn't see much action in it, but the little that I saw, okay, I can get on board with this. I'm not. I never was against her, but I just didn't see that part in her. I didn't see nothing about her scream Supergirl, but she looks like she's going to hold it down. She's an exceptional actress, so there's no reason to doubt her in this role. Here's the one that really got me. You have Jason Momoa in this movie. And I know you hear Jason Momoa in DC, you're like, oh, Aquaman's in this. No. That's over. That DC EU stuff, that's over. He is no longer Aquaman. He is now Lobo. Yes, the role that he was born to play. He is Lobo. And so that there is perfect casting. I can care less about everything else. So this is genius. Want to see what this story brings. Is based on the miniseries Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow, which I recently read. About a few months ago, when I found out that they were pretty much basing this movie on that comic book series. So I went and bought it and read it. Awesome comic book series. So I don't know what elements of the book that they're taking. I can already see from the trailer there's some changes there, but as long as they keep the core of that comic book in the movie, I'm all on board. Supergirl will fly into the theaters on June the 26th, and it is the 10th film on my highly anticipated list of 2026. Coming in at number 9. I don't know why it's this high, but look, you got to understand. I think I said it earlier. I mentioned it in passing. I'm a child of the 80s. So I have a deep affection for any properties that is being adapted for the big screen, small screen. It doesn't matter. A studio can announce today or tomorrow that they're coming out with a Care Bear movie, a live action Care Bear movie, and I'm all for it. If it came out of the 80s, it has my money. Well, this was one of the biggest ones for me because like any other boy, I don't care if you black, white, Hispanic, whatever, you loved this property. You had this toy. You thought you were He-Man. And we got a live action movie with Dolph Lundgren back in the 80s, which was silly and ridiculous. You can acknowledge it then when you was 8 or 9 years old going to the theater and see it. But you took it for what it was. Now you watch it and you have a different feeling towards it. But we're getting Masters of the Universe. And this comes to us from Travis Knight, who gave us Bumblebee a few years back. And Bumblebee, slept on Transformers movie. I think it's one of the best Transformers movies that we got live action wise. And so I feel he had a lot of care and love for that. And if he brings that same love and care here in the He-Man universe and the Masters of the Universe, I think we're in for a good movie. I'm hoping that they don't mess this up because, man, look, Masters of the Universe has a special place in my heart. He-Man has a special place in my heart. The planet of Eternia is like my second home. I had those toys. I had that Grayskull castle. I had all that. I played with that till I was, I don't know, almost 20. I don't know how old, but I love this property. And I hope they do it right. Yes, Jared Leto is playing Skeletor in this movie, which scares me half to death. But I'm willing to see. I'm willing to see if he can pull it off. You have Nicholas Galexin. I believe that's how you say his name. He's playing Prince Adam, aka He-Man. I don't know who he is. Never seen him in anything. But hey, look, you don't have to be a strong actor, and I'm not saying that as far as strength rise. I mean, your acting ability to pull off He-Man. Just be yourself. just hold it together long enough. Because you're surrounded by an exceptional cast. You have Alison Brie in this movie. Idris Elba is in this movie. I mean, it's so many people in this movie that can help shepherd this along. So we'll see how it goes. But Masters of the Universe is slated to be released in theaters on June the 5th. We'll see if it has the power of Grayskull. Let's move on to the 8th film on this list. And it's on here because, like 8 billion other people on planet Earth, I was a huge fan. And I also, here's a little Black History note, I am a distant cousin of this individual, even though when I tell people that, they think I'm lying. I don't know why, but it's the truth. Well, this film is a bio musical, and it was, once again, it was supposed to come out this year, but it was pushed back to next year in 2026. I'm a little skeptical because when you get bio films, especially when the family's involved, you normally get a little cookie cutter version of that person's life. You don't get the deep cuts that nobody knows. But look, man, we're talking about Michael Jackson here. The 8th film on the highly anticipated list, Michael. It's directed by Antoine Fuqua, who is, once again, one of my faves. He's had some hits and misses, but I love his films for the most part. He's directing this film. You have Michael Jackson's very own nephew, Jafar Jackson, portraying his uncle in his film debut. Miles Teller is in his movie. Nia Long, Carmen Domingo, I think he's playing the dad. So that's cool. But there's a lot of stuff behind the scenes why this movie was delayed and pushed back that, going by the rumors, really has me a little skeptical. It has me a little skeptical. And Jafar Jackson doesn't really look like the right actor here. I know they wanted to kind of keep it in the family here, but we talking about Michael Jackson, bro. Now, who can play Michael Jackson? To be honest with you, that's the same question you would ask if they were making a Prince biofilm. Who can really play Prince? You can't think of anybody. So I can't think of anybody who can really faithfully play Michael Jackson. But going by the trailer, the dude just doesn't. He just doesn't give me Michael Jackson vibes. I don't know why. But I want to see how this go. I am curious how this is going to go. Uh, like I said, I'm scared because of the delays and the rumors of this being split in two separate movies and the film possibly disregarding the darker moments in Michael Jackson's life that we all know what I'm talking about. I'm not even going to mention it. So at the later half of his life. So it's a lot that they claim that's not in his biopic that I'm like, well, why make it? You know, if you're not going to tell the story, just leave it alone, you know. But we'll see how it all turns out on April the 24th when we get Michael. Coming in at number 7 is the 5th film in this franchise, which, you know, after the third one, I was telling myself, let it go. Actually, yeah, after the third one, I say, okay, that was the perfect ending to this. Let it go. Then the 4th one came out. I'm like, oh, that is great. But this is the perfect ending. Let it go. But they announced the 5th one. And just like that was the other 2 times, like, oh man, but I know better. And I know not to bet against this film franchise because they always deliver. I hope and pray that they keep it going with the 5th film, and that is none other than Toy Story 5. Yes, we got Tom Hanks, Tim Allen returning to voice Woody and Buzz. This look, man, I remember the very first Toy Story coming out, and you know, it was so innovative at the time with Pixar, with the animation style, and it has vastly improved. But even back then, it was amazing. The movie was amazing. The story was amazing, you know, and I was older. You know, I was what? I know I was in mid-teens, maybe late teens when that movie came out, and I loved it. And at the time, I wasn't into animated films like that anymore. I kind of grew out of it, but that movie got me back in to those Disney style animated movies. And Pixar is, I mean, they're Pixar. Yeah, Pixar only then had about maybe 3 movies that you can look back on and be like, that was horrible. I mean, just downright horrible. But the rest have been home runs, grand slams out of the park. And Toy Story, all 4 films have been amazing. I hope and pray that they continue it going with this. And look, I'm not going to say they need to end it here because I don't know how this story plays out. But, you know, you can only play around fire so many times before you get burnt. I just hope this ain't the time. Toy Story 5 will be released in theaters on June the 19th. Coming in at number 6 is a Star Wars film. Boy, I never thought I'd say that. It's been so long since we've gotten a Star Wars film. At least over the past 10 years, man. We were getting them every year, you know, with starting with The Force Awakens and so on and so forth. And then they kind of paused, and they needed to. They really did, because the quality was dipping. And then you had the emergence of Disney Plus with their shows, which were better than the movie. So it kind of just took a stop, you know, took a pause. And speaking of Disney Plus, that's what this film is. This film is based on the Disney Plus show, which dominated for about, 3-4 years with The Mandalorian. One of the best Star Wars materials to come out since Disney acquired Star Wars. The Mandalorian took the world by storm. You had little baby Yoda, which we turned out to be Grogu, which so happens to be part of the title of this movie, The Mandalorian and Grogu. This is essentially the fourth season tied up into a movie. I as much as I enjoyed The Mandalorian, I think everybody agrees that the last season of The Mandalorian kind of dipped and not too, it just wasn't as good as the previous seasons, even though it was a good season. It wasn't that bad. The Mandalorian is so popular and so good that when Boba Fett had his series and it was looking horrible and it turned out to be bad, they had to bring in the Mandalorian in that series to kind of save it. It turned into a Mandalorian series. And, that's how important this character is. And Grogu. Well, you have Pedro Pascal returning as Din Djarin and the Mandalorian joining the cast. You have Sigourney Weaver. Yes, Sigourney Weaver is in a Star Wars films, lady, and taking her rightful place, man. Just think about it. She's been fighting aliens since 1979, and finally, she is in a Star Wars film. Jon Favreau is directing this film, as well as co-writing with Dave Filoni. This looks like a continuation of the show. Now, I don't know if it's movie worthy or theater worthy. Be it as though the last few theatrical releases haven't been all that hot, and to be honest with you, the last few Disney Plus shows haven't been all that hot in regards to Star Wars. I'm looking at you, the acolyte, but this does look like it's gonna be all right. I do like these characters, and it does feel good to know that we're getting a Star Wars film in the theater. The Mandalorian and Grogu will be released on May the 22nd. Let's hope and pray that this is the way. We move on to number 5. This is the second movie that comes out on December the 18th with Dune Part 3. And I don't know if this one is going to move. I doubt if this moves. But, anything can happen. But this movie, it's in the top 5, sitting at number 5, just out of loyalty to this franchise. This sits at number 5 because I need this to work. I want this to work. But nothing leading up to this movie showed me that it's going to work. Because everything in this franchise in the last, 5 years, have crashed and burned. You got some good gems, but one or two good movies, but everything else has not hit. Nothing else has hit theatrically. On Disney Plus, yes, but theatrically, nothing really has wowed audiences like we got 5 years ago with Avengers Endgame. So on December the 18th, we are getting Avengers Doomsday. The Russo brothers are returning, along with every single actor and character who's been in the MCU at some point. Everybody is coming back, even Robert Downey Jr. But he's not Tony Stark this go around. He is Victor Von Doom. And so you have him returning. You have Chris Evans returning. Not spoiling anything. They already released the trailer for that. Chris Hemsworth is returning as Thor. You got the Fantastic Four, who we were just introduced to. You have the Thunderbolts, or the new Avengers that we were just introduced to. You have the old X-Men, and I mean old X-Men from the 20th Century Fox days, with Patrick Stewart and Ian McKellen, and who are Professor X and Magneto respectively. You have everybody coming in here. So what gives me pause, what causing me to burrow a hole in my head from scratching is the fact that has set up this movie. Nothing that we've received has set up this movie. They're just there now. So Doom, Doctor Doom, never been set up. We got a little bit of that in the Fantastic Four, and I mean little. And it's not a real setup to whereas everybody is involved here. So I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm trying not to put too much into it because the MCU has been on the ropes the last few years, and the Russo brothers as well. Outside of the two Avengers films, what have they done? Can I direct you to the Electric State, which was a dumpster fire, or The Gray Man, or what was that other film with Tom Holland? I can't even remember it. It was that bad. They have not made anything good since Endgame. And so I'm not 100% confident that they're going to come in and save this franchise. Bringing everybody back is not going to save this franchise. You know what will save this franchise? A good movie. And so we'll see, though. I'm like I said, I'm not going to throw the baby out with the bathwater or anything like that. I'm hoping, wishing, and praying. I mean, it has my money. Don't get it fooled. Don't get it twisted. It has my money. I'm going to see it like everybody else. But I'm not over the moon excited. But it's number 5 on the list because it's an Avengers film. And everybody is coming in. And it's the promise of other things to come because after this, you get Secret Wars. And so there's a lot banking on this movie. This can make or break the MCU. So we'll see on December the 18th. Currently, because I'm still not 100% that it's going to stay on that day. That's another thing. There's no counter programming there between Doom 3 and Avengers Doomsday. Both of these films are marketed to young adult males. And I don't see both, movies dominating the box office like Barbie and Oppenheimer did, because those were two different films pointed to two different demographics. These two movies are pointed to the same demographic. Now, theoretically, I think Avengers is going to make more money than Doom because Doom historically has not been a super money maker. It made money, but it wasn't like $1 billion films like the Avengers movies are. But I don't think Avengers is going to be $1 billion when it's all said and done, unless they knock it out the park. But I'm not 100% confident. We shall see. And so that's the 5th most anticipated movie of 2026. Let's move on to number 4, and it is The Bride. It is a monster film directed, written, and produced by Maggie Gyllenhaal, and it stars Jessie Buckley and Christian Bale as Frankenstein's monster. This is don't ask me why it's so high on my list. Number one, it was supposed to come out this year in 2025, but they pushed it back. But this movie just looks insane. And I'm a huge monster movie fan, so you already got my money there. But Jessie Buckley, who, once again, one of the most slept-on actresses in Hollywood. I don't think she gets the love that she deserves. That woman is phenomenal. And her as the bride, you had me there as well. And judging by the promotional material, the trailers and whatnot, and Christian Bale as Frankenstein's monster? What? What? I'm not supposed to be excited about this? And then you're setting this in 1930s Chicago during the mobster years and all that other stuff. Man, come on, man. Give me this. It looks like a Bonnie and Clyde type thing with, man, look, I'm all in on this. This looks phenomenal. I I want to see what Maggie Gyllenhaal can do as a director. Haven't seen anything that she directed, but man, just going by the trailer, and I've been fooled before, but this looks like it's beautifully shot and acted. You have phenomenal actors in it, so there's no reason for it not to be. The bride will walk down the aisle on March the 6th, and it is the fourth most anticipated film of 2026, coming in at number 3, which will probably piss a lot of people off, and I honestly don't care. I honestly don't care. The movie, when they announced it, I was like, meh. I'm like, okay. So they make him, okay, that's fine. And then I was blessed to watch the trailer for this movie. And does it look dumb? Yeah. Does it look campy? Yes. But what it's based on is dumb and campy. It looks so faithful to the source material. It looks like it's so much fun. And it can't go nowhere but up, going by the last 2 live action adaptations that they attempted to make on this video game. I have nothing but hope. Or should I say 3 adaptations? It was 3 movies, live action movies they tried. This is the 4th one. There's nowhere to go but up. And I was sold 100% by that trailer. Everything that I seen in the trailer was enough for me to say, sign me up for Street Fighter. Street Fighter looks so insane. It looks so campy and dumb that I can't help but spend my entire check on this movie. I grew up playing Street Fighter, just like I grew up playing Mortal Kombat. I grew up on Street Fighter. Street Fighter in my day and age was the game. I think Street Fighter was first, and then Mortal Kombat came out because it blew up after that because it was so bloody and real. But this was just insane during the era of arcade games and going to the mall and that bygone era back then. But Street Fighter, bruh, and everybody that they got attached to these roles, these different characters, is like, my God, this is money. I am so excited. I am so excited for this movie. Words cannot express. There's nothing that can wean me off of going to the theater opening night to see Street Fighter. Now, does that mean it's going to be one of the best movies of the year? Absolutely not. I'm actually anticipating this movie being horrible. I don't care. I honestly don't care. It looks insane. That's why Street Fighter lands at number 3 on my highly anticipated list. This movie comes out October the 16th. So, our 2 most anticipated films of the year, or top 2, I should say, most anticipated films of the year. And I feel like I skipped one. I don't know where. I think I skipped one because I haven't mentioned it. And I know it's not the top 2. But I'll mention it at the end as an honorable mention. I'm pretty sure the number system is all messed up now because I could have sworn I had it on my list. But okay, whatever. But coming in at number 2 is another Marvel film, and this one I'm actually excited for. This one actually, I can't say looks good because I haven't seen anything as of to date, but I like who's involved. I like who's behind the camera, and I love this character. In the last 3 films in this particular franchise were money. Spider-Man, Brand New Day. And you have Tom Holland returning as Peter Parker, Spider-Man, Zendaya returning. In addition, you have Sadie Sink from Stranger Things. She is in an undisclosed role as of right now, but you also gonna have Mark Ruffalo joining the cast as Bruce Banner, the Hulk, and John Bernthal as the Punisher. He enters the fray. This film is directed by Dustin Daniel Cretton, who, out of all of the MCU films that come out in the last 4 to 5 years, he directed the one that was phenomenal. The one that I think universally everybody super enjoyed, and that was Shang-Chi, The Legend of the Ten Rings. That was the one thing to come out in this phase of the MCU that was phenomenal, in my humble opinion. So he has shifted over to direct this Spider-Man film. And look, I don't know the story. You know, I don't know the synopsis of it. They're kind of keeping it under wraps as of right now. The time of this recording, haven't seen a trailer, even though, well, let me back that up. I saw the leaked trailer. It was it looked bad. I heard the audio. I clicked it off halfway through because I couldn't do it. It was, it was that bad. And I kind of got an idea, but it's not, I don't care. Anyways, I'm all on board with this. I love Spider-Man. Everybody loves Spider-Man. Spider-Man is to Marvel what I guess you could say Batman is to DC. You know, he's that one character that is money. And, you know, I'm curious to see how this may lead up into Doomsday. Will this get me excited for Avengers Doomsday? I don't know. Will it even be linked to Avengers Doomsday? But one thing I will say that I'm kind of negative on, there are way too many villains in this movie. And that's without me even seeing anything. But you go by the cast and who they're announced in this cast, you're like, Jesus, man. He's going to need the Avengers. I mean, he has, now the Punisher isn't a villain, but he's more of an anti-hero. The Hulk can freak out and become one if in the right situation. But you got Tombstone in this movie. You're going to have Scorpion in this movie. Sadie Sink is alleged to be a villain in this movie. There are other characters that supposedly going to pop up in this movie. I think they're putting way too much into this movie. And Tom Holland, as great as he is as Spider-Man, never really had his own Spider-Man movie. If you ever sat back and thought about it, the first one he was in, it was really all Iron Man. You know, it was him and Iron Man. The second one, they really gave him split time with Nick Fury and Jake Gyllenhaal's character. I don't know why I'm blanking on it, but anyway, he never really had his own movie. And my God, you know, the last one, he had to split time with two other Spider-Men. So he never really had his own movie. And I was kind of hoping that this was going to be his own movie. And it could play out that way. These other characters could just be glorified cameos or whatnot. Who knows? But it just seems like there's a lot going on here. But hey, I'm here for it. Spider-Man Brand New Day will swing into theaters on July the 31st. That leads us to my number one most anticipated movie of 2026. And if you paid attention to the list, you probably already know what this is. And if you got half a brain, you probably know what this one is. And coincidentally, Tom Holland is in this movie as well. So good on him. But this one, he's not the only one. This ain't his film either. He's in an ensemble cast that consists of Robert Pattinson, Lupita Nyong'o's Zendaya. Oddly enough, you also have Charlize Theron in this movie. Matt Damon. I'm gonna stop there. James Bernthal again is in this movie. It's Anne Hathaway. Let me shut up. But this movie is Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey. This is the one movie that that had me at Odyssey. This is the one thing I vaguely, not vaguely, but I remember fondly from high school. I don't remember anything else from high school that's worth its weight in gold. Shamefully to tell y'all, but The Odyssey, I remember. I remember reading that book. I remember being excited because I'm a big Greek mythology guy. And so I really like all those stories and whatnot. And the Odyssey really hooked me in high school. The one thing I paid attention to, the Trojan War and all that other good stuff. And Odysseus and, the Cyclops. And I remember watching the movie in class when we were going over the book. And I also remember Oh Brother, Where Art Thou that came out later on in life, in what was that, the early 2000s, and with George Clooney by the Coen brothers, which is basically an adaptation of the Odyssey. And so all that I really enjoyed. And now you're going to tell me that Christopher Nolan is going to take that property, going to take the Odyssey and tell it the way it's supposed to be told. Give me that. Give me, sign me the freak up. Man, the trailer looks amazing. And Christopher Nolan is going to make a movie look beautiful. I don't care if the sound is off. I don't care if the editing looks a little weird at times. Christopher Nolan knows how to make cinema. He knows how to put something on the screen for us to gawk at in all of its glory, and it's going to be in the greatest quality that he can put it. This film was shot entirely with new IMAX cameras, and my God. And it's weird because Christopher Nolan is a grounded filmmaker. Even his comic book movies, the Dark Knight trilogy, super grounded. Nothing fantastical about them. Interstellar, grounded. Even though it was a space epic, it was grounded. Everything about his films are grounded. And so him doing this, where you're going to have cyclopses and mermaids and all these other mystical creatures, I'm curious to see how he pulls this off. But it has my money. I am so excited for the Odyssey to go on this journey with Icarus as the Odyssey sails into theaters on July the 17th. This is that I can already tell you this is probably going to be one of the best films of the year. It hands down. I haven't seen an inch of it. I know they released a 6-minute prologue at some screenings for Avatar Fire and Ash. I haven't seen it. I don't care. I don't need to see it. I don't care. I didn't need to see the trailer. This is going to be amazing. And it is at number 1 on the list. The other film that I mysteriously left off, I had it listed down here at number 14. But I don't know how I skipped over it, but it's Disclosure Day. And that was Steven Spielberg's new outing with Emily Blunt. And we got aliens and all that other good stuff. Looks cool. It's Steven Spielberg. Look like he's back in his bag. And I'm super excited for it. I mean, it's Steven Spielberg. What more you need to hear? Steven Spielberg, aliens. He hasn't been wrong with that. I mean, E.T., Close Encounters, the War of the Worlds, not that crap with Ice Cube, but the one with Tom Cruise. Yeah, he knows how to do the alien thing. And now, the less said about Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skulls, we're not gonna bring that up. But any other alien films, he knocks them out the park. So I'm super excited for Disclosure Day. But those are the films that I am highly anticipating for 2026. Hopefully, all of them are good. I hope and pray none of these movies let me down, let any of you down. I am so excited. I'm encouraged for this upcoming year, because even if these films aren't as good as I'm hoping them to be or expecting them to be, at least I know without a doubt I got 20 movies that go sit for 2 hours or maybe an hour and a half, 2 hours, and just release, to get away from all of the foolishness that's going on around me. So I am super excited for that. So those are my highly anticipated movies. I would like to know yours. Which one of these are you super excited about? Which one or you just know, or which ones you just know you're not wasting your money on? Right off the bat, I'm gonna wait till it pop on Netflix or something. I'm not going to see that. I would love to know your thoughts of these films. Email the show, kbradiopodcast@gmail.com. You can also search for the show on all social media platforms. Just search for the KB Radio Network. Also, don't forget about YouTube. Subscribe to the KB Radio Network channel and like this video if you don't mind. Don't forget about the 5 stars, the reviews, and sharing this show if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, wherever you are currently listening to movie goodness here on the KB Radio Network. Everybody, thank you for joining me for this upcoming slate of 2026 films. I hope you all have a happy, prosperous, and joyous new year. We'll see you in 2026. I want you all to know that I love you, continue to love everyone, and until we speak again, you all be blessed.